Wait a minute. You guys still watch this channel? Looks like we got some work to do. Wait. Okay. Now we got this going right. So welcome to Shades of Creation, hosted by Austin and myself, 3Creation, AvsFan3721. So we kind of left the discussion off on Back to the Future, originality, and shoes. Well, I'm going to round into a three-part vlog, and I'm going to ask you guys three questions. Do you know who John Milius is? About Chaos Studios? About speculative fiction? What does that all create? Homefront. But let me divide each of those three subsets into different categories. So speculative fiction. You may be asking, what is speculative fiction? Well, speculative fiction is an umbrella term encompassing the more highly imaginative fiction genres, specifically sci-fi, fantasy, horror, supernatural fiction, superhero fiction, utopian and dystopian fiction, apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic fiction, alternate history and literature, as well as relative static motion and virtual arts. Basically, so speculative fiction, it's a broad term to basically encompass real-world events through kind of heightened imaginative sensibilities. An example of this would be a book series that I'm reading, which basically takes the notion that Atlantis was an actual part of the United States, basically the entire East Coast. That is Atlantis, and then there's a gigantic, right about where the Appalachians are, that is where the split is, and from the Appalachians west is the United States. So that's kind of speculative fiction, because it's basically taking a mythological entity and putting it into real-world settings. Now, you could kind of say that speculative fiction is kind of more along the lines of steampunk. However, steampunk is taking Victorian-era writings and adding science fiction to it to create badass, awesome stuff. So speculative fiction is more geared towards possibly what-ifs, rather than science fiction, which is basically a whole bunch of stuff in outer space. Well, technically that could be considered speculative fiction. It's more generalized towards real-world events. Now, Chaos Studios. Chaos Studios is a video game company that is a subset of THQ. Now, what has Chaos Studios done? Frontlines in 2008, and nothing until this last E3, where they announced Homefront, which is basically a video game set in the world of 2027, where through actions of Kim Jong-il's son, North Korea and South Korea have become unified, have also created a gigantic country, superpower through the Pacific Rim, and have launched an attack against the United States. Basically, 2027, the United States is in chaos, it's in peril, the stock market's crashed, gas is $20 a gallon. And basically, you're part of the resistance, or the part of the Second Revolutionary War, trying to reclaim your country with the motto, home is where the war is. That's what it is. Now, John Milius, unless you're a writer or a reader of fiction like myself, you don't really know who John Milius is. Well, you probably know one very popular movie of his that he helped co-wrote the book for, which was Apocalypse Now. Now, he also wrote Red Dawn, both of which are, well, obviously Apocalypse Now is war-based, but Red Dawn is kind of more of what would happen if North Korea had done all this, but taken in the setting of Australia, and how they would react. So this is no foreign topic for John Milius, but it's very interesting given how the way the economy and like the politics of the world have been going, how this game is actually striking a lot of nerves simply with the fact that the details in this game, from what I've heard from people that have played the demo, the Americans are worried about running out of asthma medication in Walmarts. They're turning football stadiums into mass graves. And apparently the Mississippi River has been irradiated so that those in the east part of the United States will not cross over to help invade. Now, this is topics that not very many people have wanted to breach simply for the fact of the moral implications. I mean, you don't want to imagine your high school football stadium being turned into a mass grave. I mean, that's just something not very many writers want to delve into simply for the fact of the emotional consequences of that. And they're kind of more lenient towards their readership. But with a video game setting, it kind of throws that out of the way. I mean, it wants you to be yourself within the game and immerse you, but the level of immersion, it the game will either be amazing or it will make a lot of people go, whoa. But the problem is, the people that will go whoa will say that they don't like the game. Now, they're not looking at the bigger picture or going into depths of analyzing the game as to why it is that they don't like it. And because of that, I think Chaos Studios is making an incredibly good game. Graphically, it's probably not going to be anything as good as, like, I don't even know what at the time, like Dragon Age or Mass Effect 2. But the fact is, yes, we have a whole bunch of shooter games. It's true. We have a Call of Duty every single year. I mean, we're getting another Battle Company, I think. I don't know. We're getting Battlefield. We're getting another Battlefield game coming out. So the shooter games are not anything new, but the thing is that John Milius and Chaos Studios have done is they've taken what we have a ton of and looked at it through a new light. Now this will either destroy the company or it will grant them up to a higher ranking that will probably rival them with maybe Halo. Now granted, it's not space-based, but you understand what I'm saying, is that people that are willing to take risks within video games, in movies, in books, in YouTube even, people that are willing to take the risks are going to be create and be well known, or than just like a generic, like, iPhone. Like you have Angry Birds. Yeah, you get a bird, you shoot it up with stuff, and it blows up. You do that, you rinse, repeats. If you are playing a shooter game based in your country, and suddenly you're seeing like mass graves, or you're seeing your own hometown that you're trying to help liberate and return to the state of freedom, you don't get that a lot. Anyway, Austin, throwing it over to your court. That'll be it. I gotta go study for midterms. Bye. No, I'm probably gonna play video games.